I'm Emi Lo. You probably know me more as a voice actor, but I actually do some directing work too. I've directed 2 shows on my own, which are Geki Doll and actually a Chinese anime donghua named Drowning Sorrows and Raging Fire. But apart from that, I also assistant direct, which means that when the director is not able to direct, I take over. So like if they have cons to go to, if they're sick, if they have a doctor's appointment, or if they need hours at night, that means then it's my job. So yeah, for that I directed Restaurant to Another World, Ranking of Kings, Talked Up As Destiny, Shoot, Scroll to the Future, Sing Yesterday for Me, Requiem of the Rose King, Awashi, and some other stuff. Fruits Basket, Prelude, and yeah. So that's basically my introduction. I was basically gonna open this up to questions on the floor for any questions you guys might have. If I don't get questions, I'm gonna start talking about my cat. So yeah, feel free to line up, I think.
Right here. Come on up and ask a question. Anybody? Careful, yep.
Hi. So you mentioned Sing Yesterday for Me, which I feel like nobody talks about. I loved it so much. Do you have a specific scene in that anime or any other anime that was really special to you when directing or that stands out in your memory?
I think directed for that one in particular, just whenever, I forget their names, but when the main guy would meet up with his girlfriend, and they would like stand outside her apartment, and then they would be like, is she gonna let me in? Is she not gonna let me in? And all those like awkward silences and stuff like that. And just like getting working with Aaron Campbell on like the sassy moments, like the ways that he is self-deprecating and stuff like that. Like I just felt it was just so real, and those moments always really stuck out to me because like they were able to make it was like, you know, it's awkward, but it's also like a little bit comedic in a way that it's like, oh yeah, he doesn't know how to do any of this. This is probably not going to work out and stuff like that. Thank you.
Hello again.
Hello.
So, my question to you is, my friend and I have been working on a story of his concepts since high school.
Yes.
And now, our great idea is to possibly be to a show. How would the process be of that, taking it from book to possibly even like an anime adaptation of said book?
Okay, so I'm like an ADR director, so I mostly work on just like the dubbing and stuff like that. But like from what I know, start with storyboards and like drafting out those scenes because a book is going to be very different from like putting it into practice. Because like I remember, what was it? Saya Elder from CD Projekt Red was telling me that when they first got when CD Projekt Red first brought the scripts or whatever to Studio Trigger was like, you have some really great scenes, like cutscenes, like for a game, but like it's not a script, it's not like a full fleshed out story. So like you definitely have to block that all out first for whenever I do like relay and stuff like that, we always get the scripts first, and then record that, and then they usually animate through that. I'm sorry, it's pretty vague, but like because I don't know like a lot about it, but yeah.
Just any good tips on how to guide an actor's vocal performance without while still kind of giving them room to hear things their own way, sort of.
So I think the most important thing for a director is to realize that there is more than one way of saying something. I'm very against the idea of like giving line reads.
Yeah, that's what I want to avoid.
Yeah, totally. So really, just like tell them to think about what they would do in that situation, how they would feel, maybe use an emotion or a situation that they can relate to more. Or like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you really want to punch this guy in the face. That's how much you hate him, even though he's not actually doing the action or something like that. So like I try to just conceptualize it by relating it to something that they can grasp a little bit easier. And yeah, sometimes they'll surprise me.
Thank you. And by the way, I wouldn't mind hearing about your cat too.
Okay.
Hi, I was curious how you direct world building elements when it comes to anime to emphasize the crucial details of that world building.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, how do you emphasize world building elements through direction?
Role building element?
World building.
Oh, world building.
Like the universe that they're in.
So, yeah, like when the actor comes into the booth, they know like nothing. So we have to explain basically like what happened before, what happened after, and like give them a sense of like the space that they're living in. And because like that's how they're gonna feel informed. World building. Yeah, like with different kinds of anime, because like there's so many different approaches. It's not like every anime is like big and like punchy and like dramatic. I've noticed like more serious shows and stuff like that with like more grave situations. Generally, you go for a more grounded approach to the acting, and so like sometimes I'll ask for things to be a little bit more understated to match the atmosphere and with to match like the way the person would be living. So sometimes we use accents, or just like even switching the script a little bit to fit the way that specific character would talk. Because sometimes you get a script and then everybody sounds the same education, the same way of saying things, and it just doesn't sound like a person. So like often we'll just change the script a little bit, talk with the actor and about what they feel like the character, how they would approach it, and like, does this sound like something the character would say, based on how they were raised, based on like the situation, who they're talking to, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's another way to work on it.
Thank you.
Hello.
Do you feel like you have any instances where your voiceover work has influenced your directing work or vice versa?
Yes, I feel because I am an actor as well, like I know what I would want a director to say to me and like what I would look for from direction, like how I would use how I would approach it. And yeah, so I think it helps a lot. And also, like that's another reason why I don't like to give line reads. It's because like I want to be able to like take it from myself, and yeah.
Thank you.
That's my questions. That's you anyone. Has there been a scene that you felt really shaped your experience as a director that really changed your perspective on directing?
Okay, so maybe not change my perspective, but there was a really uncomfortable scene I had to direct before, and it was while I was an assistant director for Requiem of the Rose King, and it was a scene with rape that romanticized it, and the director did not prepare me by saying that this was the scene that I was going to be directing. So yeah, I just remember like it was another way of directing because like we had to try to make it comfortable for everybody involved, especially since like if the scene has the guy like misgendering the other person and the actor playing the person who was doing the rape was trans. So like it's just like more than just focusing on the directing and the acting, it's also just like lightening it up, and also being sensitive and like making sure that nobody got scarred in the process. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hello.
So a big controversy these days is artificial intelligence and AI using like voice actors, like voice clips to like make your own dialogue. Do you see a future with AI like directing anime, or do you think that will never be a thing?
So I like to quote Hayao Miyazaki on this, in that AI is an insult to human life. It takes away the human element. It takes away the emotion, the lived experiences. I would never use AI.
Thank you.
So my cat. I'm really tired right now because my cat threw up several times last night. And last time this happened, he had a blockage. And we were really freaking out that maybe he had a hair blockage again. So I dropped 1K this morning to get a bunch of tests done and x-rays. Good news is, no blockage. They couldn't find anything, honestly. So we think that maybe he ate a lizard or something. The stomach was like, no, because there are lizards in Texas. All over the place. And yeah, so we were like, maybe that's what happened, but now like, you know, we're waiting for him to start eating again, and it's really nervous, and I just want to hug my cat because he's adorable. He's a Siberian, he's really fluffy, and I love to snuggle him, and he's very affectionate and very vocal, and cats are great. And
What's his name?
his name is Noctis. We call him Catface though. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, if nobody has questions, I'm going to keep talking about it. Oh, you want to ask questions?
I don't know, so how do you approach, what's the different approaches you use between voice acting and directing, how you approach it differently?
I mean, I just like mostly just say what's going on. I just like knowing what's going on in the scene, because I found some directors are just like, and here's your line, here's the preview, and go, and it's like, but what's going on? So like that's definitely very helpful, especially since most of the actors do not know what character they're playing or what is going on in the show or anything about the character or the world and stuff like that. So like the director definitely has a job to know the thing inside out, which is why we always watch the episodes beforehand and do research and go through the script and make sure everything is fine beforehand. Yeah, I just like to use examples and stuff like that really while directing, instead of just being like, you're angry, or whatever. I would rather say like, your brother just broke your favorite toy or something like that.
Two characters interacting that are totally separately. With the actors all being recorded separately, when you have their characters interacting, how do you handle that? Is it like just different takes and you just take the takes that match up the best, or what?
So the first actor will be recording in a void with the music and stuff like that. So basically we look at if the characters are like far apart from each other, close to each other, like what situation it is, so like then we figure out the levels and stuff like that. And then the second actor gets to work off that material. So that's why there's like chemistry and stuff like that. And then so like my job as a director also is just to make sure that like the levels are the same. They seem like they're talking in the same space. The distance is half, like that's the situation it would be.
You just have it up on your phone right away?
So yeah, hope that answered it.
Thank you very much.
So you can show us your favorite.
Hi there.
What you want to take a picture.
My question is one, what made you want to do directing? And two, does it pay more than just voice acting?
So the answer to the second question is no. Especially not in Dallas. I think very little for directing. So acting definitely comes first. How did I get for directing? So I had a shadow Caitlin Glass because I wanted to see like how she worked with the actors and how the actors she worked with like took direction. Because I wanted to become a better actor, because I had only been like voice acting for about a year at that point. Then the pandemic happened, and a friend of mine, Michelle Rojas, owns Studio Nano, who was doing some work for like contracted dubs for Crunchyroll. And so she messaged me and was like, "Hey, what's your schedule like coming up?" And I was like, you know, it's like pretty okay. And she's like, would you be interested in like assistant directing or something? And I'm like, yeah. And then so she's like, great. And then a few hours later, she's like, so here are all the files, and this is the show to watch, and blah, blah, blah. You're going to be the main director. I need you to cast it this weekend. We start next week. So it was kind of an accident. I was thrown in head first, and somehow didn't completely blunder it. And here I am, like, because of that, Caitlin was like, oh, you're doing directing stuff now. Do you want to just assist? And I'm like, sure. So that's how it happened. Yeah.
Hi. I was wondering if, like, what your experiences has been and how you navigate being female presenting in this industry.
Well, I'm actually agender, but so honestly, I haven't had as many like bad experiences being like looking female as I have been being Asian. So yeah, I feel like there are just so many women in the industry to begin with that like at this point it's more okay. Like obviously like if you get like a Walla group or whatever, and they're trying to like impress you, things can get really awkward. And they don't usually do that with men. But yeah, otherwise, you know, just with directing and stuff, you tend to work with people you want to work with, especially if you are the one doing casting. As an actor also, it's like there are so many female parts and stuff that there are some awkward off-color jokes that directors will make, and like, you know, sometimes you feel pressure to go out for drinks or something like that. But like, otherwise it's generally pretty okay. Yeah.
Sounds like it's gotten a lot better.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gotten better.
Hello. Hi. So, how much do you allow them to sort of change the lines or ad-lib a little bit from what's written, or how much is it like, no, you need to read this exactly how it's written in the script?
It really depends. Usually actors will not improv, just because you're being paid to read what's there. If we need to rewrite the line, I'll ask, like, if I can't think of something that fits the flaps that is good, sometimes I'll ask, like, what do you think? Yeah, so not very much, especially since some clients really hate it if you change the script.
That's interesting. So you do try to match up what they're saying to the lip flap as best you can?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because if it's not, we have to redo it. Gotta talk about my cat.
I have a cat too, so I can do that as well. In your experience of being an actor and then directing, what was something that you thought about, like before you started directing, that you kind of had an idea of, misconception, and then once you started directing, you were like, oh, this is way different than what I thought it was, or like the preconceived notion that you had?
Honestly, I thought it was a lot harder than it is. Like, I was like really worried about like how will I get actors to do what I want and stuff like that. But the beauty of it is that actors are good at what they do, and if they're not, then you just deal with it, because like that's who is asked for. I mean, if they're really terrible, you cast them. But like you just have to do well with what you're given.
Building off that last question, what's the like number one rule for you for someone who's starting to get into directing? What's like the number one thing you think every director should know?
That it's not your way or the highway. You're there to bring out the best performance in the actor, and that might not be what's in your head. So Noctis, since he's a Siberian, he's hypoallergenic, which is really great because my husband is allergic to cats. And so before we got him from the breeder, we had to get a Siberian because of that, or like a Russian blue or a Sphinx cat. But that breeder actually gave us like fur samples before we paid our deposit to make sure that we could actually like have a cat. So yeah, because of that, I was really like happy that my husband was willing to like go through all that effort so I could have a cat, because I love cats and they're fluffy and they're adorable, and all cats are cute and there's no bad cat in this world. And yes, you have a question.
Yeah, did you name your cat after Noctis from Final Fantasy?
Maybe.
Why not named?
I plead the fifth. Yes.
Is not this like tummy rubs?
He loves tummy rubs. He'll do this thing where he's like brush, flop. And then he's like, hello, I am right here. It's time to pat me. Meow, meow. He's so affectionate. He's like, you're a good boy. And he lets me pick him up and go like this. Yes.
What do you think was the hardest like scene to try and like explain contextually, I guess?
Hardest scene to explain contextually. So Gekidol is a really weird show. I went into it when I started watching it thinking it was just cute girls doing like theater. Or idol theater, or something, yeah, because they're like a theater troupe that decides that they need to start doing like idol shows to keep the theater open. But then it's like, but they use like technology, and then suddenly like there was like time-space continuum stuff, and like like an automaton, and like this person was actually like a time traveler, like here to fight like crime or something, and like I don't even know at this point. And so that show is just really hard to explain in that like. I cast Caitlin Glass as the drama teacher, basically, because that's basically her. So I was like, and now, like, you run off and you left, and you're like trying to stop your ex-lover who you met in a different dimension. And now you have like an automaton which is like kind of brain raping you ish. And yeah. It's a great show. So yeah, probably that. Hello.
So based on the little knowledge that I just gained directing, do you have any fun? Is it fun?
Oh yeah. Like I really love being able to work with the actors and watch them do their craft. You know, it's so fulfilling, and just to see just like wonderfully talented people do their work and have fun and like really get in there. It's just you learn so much.
Thank you.
Do you think your directing has helped your acting?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it gets me to think on a broader spectrum, because it's not just narrowed on my character. And like when I am when I'm in the booth now, I think about, okay, I should lower my voice here if I am, or like raise it if I'm shouting farther away without like the director having to tell me that now. And I look for those cues now in the show itself instead of just thinking about the words that I have to say.
So you think you direct yourself a little bit now?
Yeah. Which makes the job easier for directors, and then they want to work with me more because I make their job easy. In theory. Anyway, so Noctis is turning 3 in May. He's a pandemic cat, which means that he loves people. And he has this little baguette, like, dog toy. It, like, squeaks. And he carries it around. It's really cute. But, like, so if I'm, like, out or something, sometimes my husband will send me a picture of him waiting by the garage door with the bread there. Because he's like wants to bring me a gift so I can come back home. And like sometimes he brings the blueberry there too. And then like we'll come back and then there'll be like a pile of his little stuffed toys by the door. And I'm just like, oh baby, you're so cute. And like he'll just like be waiting. And like or he'll sit on the table in the dining area which looks at the garage door as well, and he'll just be like, where is it? And like so, and like we call it the traveling bread because like you know like sometimes it's an emotional support bread. When he got his surgery, he had to have like a donut of shame or whatever, and so we got one that's like it's like plush and it's like an orange. And he had this period of time recently where he started bringing that around too. Which was really weird. So now I call it his emotional support orange. But yeah, and sometimes he tries to meow while the stuff is in his mouth, and it is just really good. So it's like, it's like muffled, and yeah.
What color is he?
He's gray. He's he's a blue mackerel tabby.
Would you cast your cat in anime?
What?
Would you cast your cat in anime?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, really funny story. I got cast in Legend of Hei once, where I play a cat because the thing that inspired it was I had sent the casting director a clip of my cat and me talking to my cat while he was like being like, and apparently, like after the show had released, she was like, "Yeah, the inspiration to cast you in this role was the clip that you sent me of your cat." Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to ask what pronouns you use? Pronouns.
Pronouns. Oh, any. Yeah.
Okay.
I accept any.
And then going back to my original question of world building, how do you direct actors who already understand the world, who may have watched the show or read the manga or something?
I give like basic information, but like I don't want to insult their knowledge. So like if they ask questions or if I'm not getting what I need from them, then I'll give more detail. But otherwise I'll be like, yeah, you know what you're doing. And you know, some actors just like having free reign like that.
Speaking of the pandemic, have you had to direct remotely? And if so, is that different? How does that differ?
It's different in that I have to remember to unmute and mute. And it's also harder to see flaps on Zoom because like there's lag and stuff like that. And then so you don't know if you're seeing things in real time for the audio and the video, and like it'll be off a little bit. We definitely had to listen more closely for like source connect dropouts and make sure there's no artifacting or like that somebody didn't have the gain too high or something. So yeah, those are definitely things to pay attention to. But what I miss about directing remotely is that like I used to be able to have my cat next to me on a cat tree. He was my assistant director. And yeah, I remember even like I was directing Kira Buckland, and once we finished, she's like, "Can I see Noctis?" So I turned the Zoom camera on and like showed him, and she's like, "Yay!" So yeah, I really miss having him there with me, and he would just like sleep next to me, and I'm like, "Wow, you're sleeping on the job."
Is he your supervisor or are you his?
I mean, is he really supervising? He's judging. But yeah, he's just he's emotional support. Yes. Yes, I would. Feel free to. I love looking at cats. I said at opening ceremony, if anybody wants to show me pictures of their cats at any time, I will look at them.
Oh yeah, that's why she's been waiting to come see if she wants to show up.
Oh my god, he's stuck in the washer.
I tagged you in a picture of my cat on Twitter.
Oh really?
Now.
I'll go look.
It's like,
Yes.
I'd be happy to show you a picture of mine if you want.
Yeah, you can actually just show it, like you can just come up here. It's probably easier that way.
I was distracted by that.
I love it when cats like do the curling thing and then they put their head upside down like that. It's like the cutest thing ever. Oh, we'll let him ask the question.
Oh, this is right.
Have you done any directing outside of voice acting? And if not, what are some of the challenges you think you might encounter, like differences?
I did some music directing. It's it's different because like my background is in classical music. I've done music directing both in anime and not. I helped direct some of the songs for Uramichi, which was a lot of fun. A lot of that is just more like I'm sitting at the piano and I'm playing like the notes to like guide people along and stuff. I find that really helps. And you have to make sure that even though they're singing the right notes, that they have like the emotion behind it, because like nobody wants to hear like a dead performance, right? So it's actually pretty similar, but yeah.
Just a real side question. Do you have a favorite piece you enjoy playing on piano, classical or otherwise?
So I enjoy playing Kreisleriana by Schumann. It's a great piece.
Thank you.
Last question, I promise.
Yeah, no problem.
What is most important to evaluate when casting actors?
One, if they're a pleasant person. Two, how well their voice fits the character. I listen to the Japanese and listen through demos and see like who can fit it. How well they take direction. And also just overall acting ability. I mean, I want to work with people who can actually deliver.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Similar question I had when you're directing something, do they come to you or do you build it?
Oh, we go to a studio.
Oh, okay.
So yes, cat pictures. Oh, the trophies!
We should have a picture of our cats together. It's so hard to show cats.
Suki doesn't like
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sabi doesn't like it when she's not here. Is this one of the super
Oh. Same. Oh, look at that look. People with abandoned cats are like the worst.
People who don't, I don't trust people who don't like cats because I feel like
They don't
respect them.
Exactly.
Well, this is my cat, Suki.
Oh, look at those eyes.
She hates it.
Oh, that's
Of course.
You did have a, was she like a cat whisperer? And she kind of got close.
Yeah. Yeah, you did have Suki pretended didn't have it, but actually.
Oh, I love this expression. It's so cute.
Well, I got one first, and I didn't realize it was it was my exact not like, so then I had to make another one. But I used the other.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to do.
Do you like dogs at all?
Yeah, I do. I especially love Shibas.
Okay.
Finnish Spitzes, Huskies, Corgis, Pomeranians.
What's an animal you would never own because you don't particularly care for them?
A tarantula. Yes. Oh, that's so majestic. Wow, that backlighting. Yes. Yeah, my Siberian boy is also very low. So long. Yeah. Man, chinchillas are adorable too. Oh. If Noctis wouldn't like absolutely hate it, it would also be the chinchilla.
Have you ever had to direct anything that included live animals?
I have not. I feel like that would be very interesting. And I would love it.
I've been asking too many questions.
No, keep asking. Ask away.
Keep asking.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say.
Oh, yes. Have you ever acted in something you were directed, and if so, how do you handle, like, giving yourself direction, I guess?
In Drowning Sorrows and Raging Fire, there was a character that, like, maybe had, like, 10 lines in the whole show. But a handful of them were Chinese names. And I was like, I'm just gonna do that myself. Rather than, like, have to teach another person how to say the names. And have that basically be their role. So yeah, like, I just basically, I mean, I feel like I'm my biggest critic anyway, so I just kept doing it until I felt it wasn't terrible. Is basically how it goes. But I know at like Crunchyroll, you're not allowed to direct yourself. So in the actual studio. So like when I was assistant directing for Caitlin in shows that I was also in, she would be the one directing me, or like if she was in a show, she would have somebody else direct her and stuff like that. Same with Michelle Rojas for Higurashi, she played me on, so she would have Afia direct her on that.
Thank you once again.
No problem.
Have you ever worked in something where someone was directing themselves? And was that weird?
Have I worked in something where someone was directing themselves, as in like where the director was also directing themselves?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Generally, I find self-casting to be really like not great. Your job is to be the director. Again, I only self-cast myself in that one show because like it was like Chinese names and 10 lines total in like the whole show. So it's like, why not? But like, yeah, I feel like if you're the one who casts yourself, like it's just like, so are you directing it so you can cast yourself? Like, come on. And a lot of those times, like the person doesn't fit the role either. So it's like I just find it like it's a conflict of interest. Yes.
Yeah, I make my own animated shorts, and I don't always have enough voice actors. So when I cast myself, it's because I have nobody else.
I mean, yeah, and if it's like your personal project,
Yeah.
then that's
But
totally
that's a
fine.
very different situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I just meant like if you're like, oh, I want to direct this because I want this role. It's like, Yes. Chincha! It's so cute! Oh, it's so soft.
This part where she's very feisty.
Oh, those are cute.
Do you have any favorite or memorable moments like directing anime?
Yeah, I love it's a Drowning Stars and Raging Fire. I loved directing that because one, it's based off of a Chinese BL novel, which I love the author's works. And that also means that there are a lot of guys that are very hot, and I cast very hot voices. So it was just like ear candy the whole entire time. And we had fun, like, because like Chinese censorship, they take the BL out of the actual donghua. That's the BL that's originally in the novel. And so I had a lot of satisfaction adding it back in with the delivery and like getting the subtle moments in there to make it like gay again. So yeah. So that was like it was a project that like meant a lot to me. Thank you.
How do you cast a sexy voice?
Huh?
What's a sexy voice?
Oh no, wait, what do you mean?
Like a hot voice. So I got all these hot voices.
Oh yeah, like Alex Lee has a really hot voice.
So like, what is a hot voice?
It's just one that you listen to it and you're like, that is a voice that like a really pretty boy in an anime would have. That is a voice that I just want to listen to all the time. Like Keiji Tang. I cast him too. Yeah, he's in both of my shows. Because he's a fantastic actor and also just has a wonderful voice.
I think Keiji Tang, I think, is Ryan in the Doraemon, so it's
Keiji also does the best bloopers.
Yeah, I have a cold. Nice.
Hello.
Hello.
I apologize if this question was asked, so I have to step away. So as a working actor and a virtual director, how do you balance your time between acting sessions and directing sessions and audition sessions and self-care sessions?
So, most recent, when I did my second show, Drowning Sorrows, I was working 12-hour days. I was directing, I would have like a 1 hour lunch, and then so I would use that to do like a remote session. I would wake up early, I would start directing until 10 a.m., so I would do my auditions before that. And yeah, because I was recording at the same time Orient, Demon Slayer, and some other, remotely, and some other shows for like Crunchy at the same time. So it's really hard, and that's why I don't take on a personal directing thing anymore as much, because like, that's why I would just stick to assisting, because I'm an actor first and foremost, so that is my priority, and I was just like, I can't look like that anymore. So yeah, even as an assistant, I'm like, I can't do night sessions anymore, because that's when my husband gets off from work, and I want to be able to spend time with him and my cat and stuff like that, and I have to have that family time, because like, I was just very unhappy. So yeah, it's very difficult, and honestly, you do have to focus on one more than the other. So for me, it's acting.
Thank you.
This is kind of related to like the business side of it. Are you hourly or are you salaried?
I am hourly.
Okay, so you sound like you get a lot of overtime, or is it in a way that you can't get overtime?
You cannot get overtime because it's a contract.
Gotcha. So it's a flat fee then?
Yep.
Gotcha. So you could end up working, like you said, 12 hours, and you're only making. Does that inspire like a kind of like, I want to get this done as soon as possible so I can go home? Or you're like, no, even though I'm getting paid this base rate, I need to put out the best product possible, and I need to take my time with it, even if that takes 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah, I'm a perfectionist. So, and also like, I want to be happy with the work going out. I want the actors to be happy with the work going out. Nobody wants to be responsible for a bad product, and nobody wants to be embarrassed about the project they're in. So yeah.
That's good, thank you.
should we just wrap up?
If you want, we can, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll just wrap up. Yeah, remember, cats are awesome, and directing's pretty cool too.